Rutledge and Hamilton live from Pleasant View Golf Course in Middleton. No Rutledge, no Hamilton. Alex Strofe, Molly Brown in for the fellas on your Wednesday afternoon. Rutledge of Hamilton, of course, as always, brought to you by our friends at Coors Light. Molly, if the mountains are blue, you know what to do.
That's crush Coors Light. And
I will tell you, it is the middle of August. You know it's the middle of August. You know football season is approaching when you've got a WWE-style rivalry developing between two NFC North rivals that'll be facing off twice a year against one another, mano-a-mano. The best wide receiver in the conference, Justin Jefferson. The best cornerback in the conference in Jaire Alexander. We start with the Packers cornerback, who spoke with the NFL on NBC earlier this week about Justin Jefferson, about the Packers, about the Vikings. Here's what Jaire had to say on NBC.
Okay, you and Justin Jefferson, game one against Jefferson, you didn't match up with him at all. He had a big game. The next game, you spent a lot of time on him in man coverage, and in fact, you did the gritty. Right after a play, you knocked down a ball. Talk about that a little.
Yeah, man. Hey, that was fun, man. You know, I said all week it was a fluke. So when he came in the Lambeau, he thought he was going to come in there grittying, but I was the one grittying. And that's all it was. It was just fun, you know.
You beat him up a little bit, too. You got your hands on him a bunch. I watched a bunch of those plays.
Look, somebody had to, man. They was letting him go free all year, man. Not me. Not me.
Unbelievable stuff there from Jaire. He thought he was going to come in here grittying, and I was the one doing the grittying.
How do you feel about him talking like that?
I love it. I love his swag. I love his confidence. It's cornerback necessary these days, right? Like, who has the most swag in the NFL positionally? It's cornerback. Who's been making more money, if you go 10 years ago to now, positionally, much more money percentage-wise, maybe more so than any other position not named quarterback, that would be cornerback, right? So I think you need the swag. You need to feel like you're the best in the world. And we saw a couple weeks ago when the NFL Network was releasing their NFL Top 100, they asked Jaire if he emulates his game after anybody, and he says he watches a lot of number 23 on the Packers. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing, right? So, like, he needs that swagger. He needs that confidence, especially when he's going up a guy like Justin Jefferson twice a year. Justin Jefferson responds to Jaire Alexander on CBS.
I mean, it's just him talking at the end of the day. Nobody's really worried about him at the end of the day. If you really see them mic'd up and everything, they had their intentions to really take me out the game. At that point of the season, we already had solidified in the playoffs. We already had won the division. I didn't even play the whole game. But you can't call a 180-yarder a fluke. That's something that's not a fluke. You can't just walk up on 180 yards in the NFL, especially being one of the top players. So they played totally different the second time. They did not even play man the second time at all. So, that statement of him playing man and beating me up all game is very not true. And if you see the film, you can see it.
For somebody that started talking a minute ago by saying, yeah, nobody's worried about him or anything he says, to go on for a minute about what he says and what he does, you sound a little bit like you care, Justin Jefferson. It sounds like you care a whole hell of a lot what Jaire Alexander is saying about you. Welcome to the offseason in the NFL, where people are going to talk, and people are going to talk a lot of smack, especially when they don't like each other, especially on the record like Jaire Alexander and Justin Jefferson don't. I love this from Jaire Alexander, and I love the response from Justin Jefferson because you can tell from it. The one takeaway I have is Jaire Alexander is in the head of the best receiver in the NFL.
But, okay, so I kind of want to go back because I completely disagree with you on the talking smack aspect. I believe so much in karma, and I don't like the fact that our top cornerback is talking that way. Yes, I understand that you have to be swaggy. You got to have the swagger. You got to be cool. You got to be talking highly of yourself. I believe it. I like it at times. But then I just believe so heavily in karma that I think if you're talking like this, you're going to get burned. And I just feel like this amplifies the two times the Packers are going to play the Vikings this season even more than it has been in the past.
Great.
Because of these conversations.
Great. I love energy.
Exciting,
I love
but
excitement.
I don't want the bad karma to come onto the Packers and Jaire's just getting burned like crazy.
It's not going to happen because he's that damn good. He's not going to get burned. And I understand Justin Jefferson is also that damn good. I anticipate amazing battles between the two of these guys for years and years, right? Like, we've already had a couple classic battles, including last year at Lambeau Field when Jaire is grittying as Justin Jefferson lays on the Lambeau Field grass. I love that. I want swag. I want confidence. And I understand this is what the Packers won't call, but I will, a rebuild year for Green Bay. I don't anticipate them to be very good. Mm-hmm. But you know who I also don't anticipate to be very good is the Minnesota Vikings, who won 13 games a year ago.
They're going to be better than the Packers, but they're not going to be...
I can't say that with full confidence.
Oh, come on. You're being such a Packers fan right now. Like, actually think. You don't think that the Vikings are going to be that much better. Yes, the only thing that I have questions about for their team is the defense. That's it. Yes, as we're talking about the Packers defense, that is clearly a big part of a team, obviously. But otherwise, like, the offense for the Vikings, so much bigger and so much better than what the Packers.
I don't think I agree with you strictly because they have Justin Jefferson. But I would take the Packers. I would take the Packers running back room. I would take the Vikings tight end room. But
Alexander Madison's pretty freaking good.
He is, but he's not as good as Aaron Jones.
Kirk Cousins, would you take him over Jordan Love?
Kirk Cousins is something I can't ignore because essentially earlier this offseason, and it seems we've buried this in the archives, is the fact that the Vikings essentially said, yeah, this will probably be Kirk's last year. We don't really want him after this year. How does that not play with you mentally? How does that affect the chemistry of your offense when, in the heart of hearts, Justin Jefferson knows he's not the guy. The guy throwing me the ball this year isn't the guy. You don't think that affects them whatsoever?
Do you want to know? I have a prediction, and I've been saying it for the last 2 years. I think that Justin Jefferson, if they don't get further in the playoffs to the NFC Championship, is this the last year on his rookie deal? Or is it next
2020, yes, he would have been because he was the same year as Love.
So I know that he had like a whole holdout negotiations thing too with his with the Vikings.
He may have signed an
this
extension
year.
already, though.
Well, there's ways out of all kinds of contracts that if they don't get to the NFC Championship by next year, I think Justin Jefferson is out of Minnesota.
I don't think they're even going to make playoffs this year. To be real honest with you, I think.
So who's going to take the NFC North spot?
I think it's the Lions probably, but I don't know that if I buy into that hype either. I think you could win 8 games and win this division. I think it's going to be that bad.
Ugh, we're turning into the NFC East.
NFC South of last year, yeah.
That too, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the North's turn to be just brutally awful, which sucks. But look, I think the Packers can be 8-9 good. I think the Vikings could easily be 8-9.
Wait, 8-9 was my prediction, and I think you were saying that I was crazy for saying that.
No, I think you gave me like 10-7, and I called you crazy.
No,
8-9, I'm fine with.
I said 8-9. Matt said 6-11.
No, whatever, not important. Ryan, what's up?
Tell me I'm right now.
I was just going to say Justin Jefferson has not signed an extension, though they did exercise his 5th-year option, which would apply the 2024 season. So they're still working on that long-term deal. Likely he'll end up being the highest-paid player, non-quarterback, maybe of all time.
I would think so. And if anybody's deserving of it, off the top of my head, I would say he's probably number 1 on the list.
Him or Micah Parsons, maybe, as a pass rusher?
Yeah, Parsons is a good point.
True.
Parsons is a good point. But, yeah, I would put him right up there. One of the or whoever the better Bosa is. I always screw him up. Nick is the better Bosa.
Yeah,
correct?
He's the younger Bosa, the better asset, for sure.
He is still holding out, too, as well. Have there been any updates with that?
As far as I know, he's still not going to their training camp right now.